everybody. Welcome back to the show. I'm so happy that you're here every week. I'm Anna Gibbs, your host for Monday Morning Mojo, the podcast that I hope truly inspires you to think bigger, work smarter, and stretch what's possible in both your business and your life. And I'm just going to jump right in today because I think, a really important topic for us to talk about. And I'm going to start by asking you a couple of questions. So, my first question is, why do you do what you do? What's the reason you get out of bed in the morning, besides the alarm clock or maybe the to-do list that's staring at you? What is it that fuels you when things get tough or when business slows down or when you're staring at a challenge that feels bigger than you? That, my friends, is your big why. And today I want to dive into what it is, why it matters, and how it really connects you to not just fuel you to accomplish something, but really connects you to your purpose. So let's dig in. What is a big why? I think I can define it in some simple terms for you. Your big why is the deeper reason behind what you do. It's not just about making money, hitting sales goals, or building a business. Those are outcomes. Your big why is about the meaning behind all of it. It's about what your success means to you, what your success allows you to do, who it allows you to become, and the impact it allows you to have. I think all high achievers have one thing in common. They're working for the big why, and they're very clear about it. I just listened to another podcast yesterday. It was the Jamie Kern Lima show, and she was interviewing Gary Vaynerchuk, which I'm sure you've heard of before. Gary is really an incredible individual, and certainly from all the outward appearances, a very successful entrepreneur. But, Jamie started asking him some really poignant questions about why he does what he does or why he continues to do what he does, because he's accumulated some massive wealth now over the years. And it was really clear that Gary's passion for making the world a better place, to see successful outcomes and do the right thing, is what really fuels him. I think it was clear that Gary, he believes in winning for the positive impact it creates for himself and his family. But I think that it's really about him wanting to really change the world around him. Now, he might have had a goal to one day buy the New York Jets, which, by the way, he did. But that wasn't his big why. That was just something he aspired to do. So I think it's important for us to understand that, because sometimes we can, really stay focused on the goals and what outcomes we want. But what is going on behind that? What's underneath that? Because your big why is what you will connect to when things start feeling hard, when things start becoming difficult and things start feeling out of touch. Connecting back to your big why will keep you from just giving up. And I think that we have to have that contrast, right? Because we can say our goal is, a certain sales goal, or we want to see $500,000 in revenue this year for our business, but that isn't your why. It's what the revenue means to you. It's what the success represents for you. And so when you really peel it back, it's not about the money. It might be about what the money can do for you, but it's about getting clear about that. Maybe it's putting your kids through college debt free. Maybe your big why is to work through your business so that you can create other opportunities for people, more jobs in your community. Maybe it's about giving back. Maybe it's about creating a lifestyle where you have the freedom to travel and experience life fully because you didn't get to do that as a child. Maybe it's about moving your life in a direction that breaks some generational patterns. See, that's your big why. It's what really starts to connect with you on a deep level. And I've been coaching entrepreneurs and business people for many years now. And I can tell you that I like to take the time to help my clients and the people that I work with to really get into this conversation and discover their big why. And it's what motivated me to talk to you about it today because this is so powerful. And I can tell you that many times when I've sat with people and helped them go through this exercise and ask those questions, it gets emotional. And I think that when you start to feel something, then you know you're getting closer to your big why. When it moves you, when it starts to create an emotion, maybe even, tears start to fall, then you know that you're hitting something powerful. And here's the thing, our big why is personal. My big why is not the same as yours. And the reason why I want to pursue my big why is not the same as yours. And I think that we have to also understand there's probably no such thing as changing your big why. As you start to move through and travel in your life, your why can become clearer, it may become deeper, but I don't think it really changes. I believe, and I know a lot of people have written about this, Simon Sinek is one, Gary Keller is another, that our big why is formed really early in our lives. We tend to connect with our purpose and our passion somewhere in our teenage years, even if we're not able to quite articulate it, right? We might be too young to really understand what it is, but it starts. It starts then. That's when we start to see the world as an opportunity, as a canvas. And I think that's when it starts to connect for us. So it starts when we're very young. And so that why is yours, and it's very personal. So this is really important because I touched on this a minute ago, but your why matters because there's a difference between motivation and drive. Motivation gets you started, but your why keeps you going, right? When the honeymoon phase of a new idea wears off, your big why is what fuels your discipline. Because if your big why is deep and it's about helping other people, it's about fulfilling something that you know is part of your value system, if it's giving and sharing a gift that you know you were born with, then when you struggle with seeing the results, it's your why that is going to bring you back to, okay, let's go back to plan B or let's start over. And it's what keeps you going because it's so important to who you are. And that's something else to understand. Your big why is who you are. So, every entrepreneur, every individual will hit walls, rejection, setbacks, failures. I mean, at the end of the day, we have to understand that life is full of challenges and obstacles and starts and stops. And I think that when we realize that we can fail our way forward, then we get back up again. And that's true whether it's about business, whether it's about a personal goal, a financial goal, a health goal. We have to understand that setbacks will happen and that your why is what will give you the grit to push through. And so, if you've ever had a setback and really struggled to see why you should get back up again and start over, it might be because you were not connected to your big why. And so, I feel that knowing your big why gives you clarity. It helps you make good decisions. I think that knowing your big why can actually make your decisions easier because you'll know right away if it lines up with your purpose, if it lines up with your values. So you can ask yourself anytime if an opportunity that is sitting in front of you aligns with your why, if it is really part of your purpose, or could it just be a distraction? So I want you to think right now about a time that you kept going on something that was hard. Could be anything that has happened in your life, in any part of your life. I want you to think about a time that you just kept going even though it felt really hard. What was pulling you forward? What was it? What was that thread of meaning, right? What was going on at the core? What was it that connected you to a higher purpose? That's your why. So whether you knew it then or named it, I'm telling you that that is what was pulling you through. So your why is about having a purpose. It's about having a mission or a need that in turn gives you focus. Your why powers your actions. And I will tell you this, the bigger the why, the bigger the focus, and the bigger your energy. So How do we find our big why? I'm going to give you a couple of ways that might help you identify and really get clear about your big why. And if you know me, if you hung out with me, especially if you're listening to this podcast, and if this is your first time, welcome. I hope that this is a great conversation for you as a first timer. But if you've hung out with me, you know I ask a lot of questions. That's what coaches do. We ask a lot of questions because we want to give you an opportunity to think. And I want you to feel that you can connect with your own thoughts and ideas. I could tell you what I think your why is, but it doesn't mean anything. So the questions help you reveal information that you already have that you just need to pull out. So here's the question. It's simple. I just want you to ask yourself, what motivates me? What motivates you? When you can answer this question, and actually write down your thoughts. I just want you to know if you can go back and because some of you might be listening in the car or on a walk or whatever, if you can go back and ask yourself some of these questions and write down your answers, that could be really, really powerful in uncovering the real core of your why. Because the more you write, the clearer it becomes. And I think we have to go deep. Anytime we ask ourselves questions around our purpose, around our why, just understand that those first few answers that come up are not necessarily your big why. It's really deeper than that. So when you ask yourself what motivates me, if you can just start writing down what comes to mind. And the more you write, I think the deeper you'll get into your feelings. And then you start to uncover more about what's behind all the things that started coming out first. And that is when you get into the deeper reason for your why. So that's the first question. The second question you can ask yourself, and you can work on both of these, is why do you do what you do? Why do I do what I do? Why do I do what I do? That question is one that is really important because it will reveal what is important to you. And until you peel back those layers, again, you might just be skimming on the surface. So, for instance, if you say, well, Anna, I do what I do because I really like my job. It's great. Why do you like your job so much? Now we're going to get into more specific reasons about it. Or if you say, I want financial success. Great. Why? Why is that important to you? I want to be able to provide for my family. Fantastic. Why is that important to you? Well, because I want my children to not worry about paying for college or other things that come up. Okay. Why does that matter to you? Because growing up, we struggled and I had to pay my own way. And I want my kids to have a different stability. I want my children to have different things that I couldn't have as a young person. Right. So I'm just giving you an example, but you see that as you go deeper, the meaning starts to change. And it is sometimes really connects back to something that is very deep for us. And so that is an important part of understanding and uncovering your why. Another way to really understand and uncover your why is to look at your values. And we've shared this before, but again, in the show notes, we're going to provide you with an exercise on helping you uncover and identifying your values. And it's a really great exercise that will give you some perspective on what your top values are. And your values are the beliefs you live by. And so that is what you stand for. So it could be integrity, freedom, growth, family, contribution, what have you. But I think understanding your values will help you understand that those values are really the current running through your big why. And then another option for really getting clear with your big why is to just review some defining moments that have happened in your past. It could be some great memories. It could be some times of pain. It could be times of triumph, transformation. That should reveal a lot about what drives you too. And then finally, I would say you could now fast forward into the future and imagine what you want your legacy to be. Yeah, so if someone was to give a speech about you 20 years from now, what would you want them to say about you? And more importantly, what would you like them to say about how you lived and how you led? So this clarity is really going to be a huge opportunity for you to connect with your big why. And so I want to also share another, I mentioned Simon Sinek before. In his book, Start With Why, he also suggested another exercise, and I just want to share with you too. And it's, I think he called it the friends exercise. And so what he suggests is that you sit down with one of your close, bestest friends, not family, because they tend to know too much about you, but someone who is like a really dear best friend. And I want you to sit down with them. And what Simon suggests is that you ask them, why are we friends? And yes, they're going to look at you like you're crazy and they're going to say, what are you talking about? So just let them, feel that for a minute and work with them and just keep on it and say, no, really, I want to know, like, why are you friends with me? And they're going to struggle with this and kind of laugh and be like, you got to be kidding me. You know why we're friends. And just keep on it. And just ask them more questions around. Maybe you move into a what question and you ask them, what is it about me that makes you want to be friends with me? Or what is it about me that you like so much? And they're going to start to open up and share some things with you. And you know what's going to happen? They're going to start to talk about how you make them feel. They're going to start to talk about what you've done for them. They're going to share what or how they feel around you and what it is that they enjoy about you. And so, what's going to start to become clear is that your values start percolating up through that conversation. They're going to mirror back to you what it is that you give to the world. And that's a great way for you to also get clear about your why. So, this really matters because, again, life is always challenging. I mean, let's just face it, that's not being negative, it's just being honest. There's always going to be days where it feels like a struggle. There's going to be moments in our career, in our business, where we feel really challenged and we're going to be questioning a lot of things. And there's nothing harder than the day that you start to question your own purpose. That is a tough day. And so to move through and past that, if you can really stay connected to your big why, you'll pull yourself out of that feeling. And so, if you do the work and you get really clear about your why, I'm going to give you a couple of challenges. Number one, write a personal mission statement, put it into words for yourself. Create a paragraph about your mission, your purpose, your values, and write it out and put it somewhere where you can see it. You can create a vision board. It could just be a sticky note if you want. It could be something that you print up very pretty and put in a frame, but just have it somewhere that you can visit it every day. It could be tucked in your wallet. It could be on your desk. Maybe you have 2 and 3 copies of your big why. It could be the wallpaper on your phone, but I think it's important for us to have it as a visual because that's what keeps us connected to it. And that's what'll put us in alignment. And I think that for a lot of us, we plan our week maybe on a Friday afternoon or a Monday morning. Connect back to your why, connect back to your mission and your purpose, and just ask yourself if you're making time to do enough of the things that connect you to your why. Because listen, I've been there too. Sometimes I look at my schedule and I say to myself, I'm doing a lot of things and I feel busy, but am I really being productive and am I really lining up with my true purpose, my true mission, my true big why? And that can get you to go back to examining how you're spending your time and bringing more things in that help you live out your purpose. So examine your why when you're planning your week so that you can put those tasks, those appointments, those people on your calendar that actually move you closer to your why. Because remember, the next time you're feeling discouraged, revisiting your why is going to help remind you of the big picture and it's going to help get you on track. And I think that finally, I'll say this too. Your big why should be shared. It's not a secret. I think number one, when you are aware of your big why and really connected to it, you're going to live it out. So people will start to see it in action, right? So other people will start to understand a little bit more about what your purpose is, which is amazing. And you'll actually attract more people towards you who need a little more of that. But I think beyond that, I want to encourage you to share your why with your team, your staff, the company you lead, with your family, with your mentor, your coach, because when others know your why, they can help you. They can help you on your journey and they can help you stay on track. They can hold you accountable or even remind you in case you have those days where you forget. So I believe this is such an important part of being successful in work, in life, in relationships, because your big why, this isn't fluff stuff. This is really the backbone of your purpose, of your resilience, of your success. It's what I think takes goals from being numbers on a page to being real and being a real part of a meaningful life. I'm going to challenge you again, take some time this week, maybe just 15 minutes to answer some of the questions I shared with you in this episode. Sit down, write them out, get clear about your big why. Ask yourself the simple question, why do I do what I do? And keep digging until the answer makes you feel something, until it moves you. That's when you know you found it. That's when you know you've really connected with your big why. And I just want to thank you for being with me today. I want to celebrate you and I want to say good job because I know you're going to do this work and this is such important work. And I know that you needed to hear this today. Someone is feeling like this is exactly what they needed when they needed it. It gave you clarity, maybe inspiration. And I just want to encourage you to please share this with someone else. Share it with someone who definitely could use that reminder of why discovering their big why is important, or maybe they just need to connect back to it. Share it with other people. Remember, your success always starts on the inside and it always begins with that purpose. And that's why this is important. So I appreciate you also taking a minute right now, if you haven't done so already, and follow or subscribe to the show. And if you could too, give me a 5-star review. That'll show me that what we're talking about here matters. And that gives me the fuel to inspire me to continue filling out my purpose and my big why, because my big why is really to help people think differently so that they can do bigger things in their life. So your feedback really matters to me and it helps fuel my big why as well. So have a powerful week and I'll talk to you soon.